Big shout out to you for making it through the hectic holiday season. This new year, get clean, quality, pregnancy nutrient support off your to-do list, including Ritual's best-selling Essential Prenatal Multivitamin, designed with 12 traceable key ingredients to support a healthy pregnancy. With big changes coming up, take the small steps now and start today with 30% off a 3-month supply at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Hey there. Ritual here to give a big shout out to you for making it through the hectic holiday season. The magic of those family moments, that was you. And now there's new milestones to prep for in 2025. This new year, check clean, quality, pregnancy nutrient support off your to-do list with Ritual. We've done the research to create science-backed pregnancy support like our prenatal multivitamin, natal choline, and fertility support, all designed to be taken alongside each other. But don't just take our word for it. They're also third-party tested for microbes and heavy metals and Clean Label Project certified. So whether you're trying, thinking about trying, or already there, we don't have to tell you that prioritizing yourself can be the hardest part. That's why we're helping you get started today with 30% off a 3-month supply for a limited time at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
You're listening to the Telltale Channel. In this podcast, if you like what I do and you want to see me continue to do it, don't forget to check out my Patreon. I just finished writing a book titled Was Hitler an Atheist? It talks about religions during the Third Reich and how they work together. Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Protestants. And I even address the lies told by the evangelical world about Bonhoeffer. It's on Audible and Amazon. Kanye Yedolf West is going insane again. He's completely out of his head. He's gone full-blown Nazi. I don't know if you guys remember what he said previously. We'll get there. I just want to talk about it a little bit, but take a look at some of the stuff he's said on his Twitter account recently. Just in case he deletes it, like any of the stuff, I have a screen recording scrolling through it all, so we're good. Problem is, I have to be careful. Like, I can't just read a lot of this stuff because it's like the F word for gay people a lot and stuff. And a lot of like Jew hate. Oh my God, dude, this is insane. Let's just kind of scroll through. What do we got going on here? All of these celebrity people and is afraid y'all watch our brother rot and never say. I'm gonna have to censor myself a lot, obviously. Call that woke people addicted to complaining do something. And what does Kanye think we should do exactly? Look, if you don't know this story, it's going to take a second to kind of ease into this. So let me just show you what he is most famous for saying a little while back.
Hey, like you like the uniforms, but that's about it.
There's a lot of things that I love about Hitler. A lot of things.
That's what we're dealing with. There's going to be a lot of that in this tweet psychosis that we're looking at here. What are y'all going to do? Cancel my sneaker deal, cancel my record deal, freeze my accounts. F all you people. Slavery is a choice. I'm speaking my mind now. I ain't editing ever again. Slavery is a choice. The reason he's talking about his sneaker deal and his record deal being frozen and all that is because he said this. This clip is from mid-October 2022.
The thing about it, me and Adidas, is like, I could literally...
Because he had an Adidas sneaker deal. It was like $1 billion deal with them. It was gigantic. You cannot back out of that easily.
I could literally say anti-Semitic and they can't drop me.
Why would you?
I could say anti-Semitic things and Adidas can't drop me. Now what? Now what?
Now you say anti-Semitic? I don't understand. Anyway, he was dropped. Hilariously, by Adidas. They said, we want no part of this. I mean, I don't know how much money Adidas dropped for that, but it was a lot. Billions, I think, is what the deal was worth total. I think that they had a bunch of sneakers of his that they had to throw away because they'd already manufactured them. I mean, oh my God. All you please come at me. That's how we spot the racist word for black people. Let these white people and Jewish people tell you what to do and say... Diego? I don't know who that is. God, I hope I didn't just say a slur. Is that a person? And fuck all of you in advance. Alrighty? Selling the Sean John collaboration that made my brother spoke about before they locked him up. We splitting the profits 50-50. Sean John, is that a rapper? That's a rapper, isn't it? Puff, get one call a morning. He's defending P. Diddy. If you guys don't know, I'm trying to add context to this screed, but P. Diddy is in so much trouble right now for like human trafficking. And so he's like a terrible person, like the bottom of the barrel evil. He says, Puff, get one call a morning. And the context, like the community note says, Sean Combs, a.k.a. Puff, was found to be abusing his phone call privileges by contacting and trying to bribe and blackmail witnesses and victims in connection to what he's being accused of. Plausible reason why he has been limited to one phone call while in jail. Wow, dude. People want leaders even in their own homes, but the men have been castrated. You know, the thing is, this is not new. He's been doing this for literally years. Literally years. This isn't like, as Ambien said, when Roseanne, like, said something, like, super racist, she said she was Ambien tweeting. As Ambien said, a side effect of Ambien is not racism. A side effect of autism, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, whatever it is this dude has, side effect of those things is not racism. You are just a sack of That's it. Puff is a way better dad than my dad and a way better dad than me. The first true thing he said in this whole thing. And that's why I'm willing to die for my tweets. Slavery is a choice. Even if y'all, the Jews, send my own people at me. He thinks that Jews are sending black people at him. Nobody can do anything about anything. No one can tell me what to do. Everyone tells you what to do. I'm not here to relate or get people to agree. I give a fuck if this raises sales or crashes the site. I am so confused by some of this. Trans people need to tell men they are trans before they engage in anything romantic or sexual. My God, dude, this is insane. He is just going off on the most mind-boggling, insane garbage. As if this is a problem at all in any way, shape, or form. As if this has ever been a problem in society. This is so cool, he says, and it's physics fun. Well, you know, if he's on a physics fun Twitter account, then at least he's not on, like, Nazi accounts. Everything you see on TV is propaganda. Even if you see war, it's intentionally shown to you. Yeah, people are choosing to show things, obviously. I'm not smart enough to do anything illegal. Okay, I don't even know what to say to that. You think it takes intelligence to do illegal things? What about that guy that put lemon juice on himself and went in to rob a bank because he knew that lemon juice was used to make invisible ink, and he thought it may make him invisible to the cameras? That's 100% real. The example given to establish what the Dunning-Kruger effect is. That guy was not smart by any stretch of the imagination, but was doing illegal shit. But okay, whatever. You're just calling yourself dumb. You're not giving us any excuses for anything. Money and the law are the only things binding. Everything else is opinion, and no one's opinion means COVID gone, COVID war is gone, war. I'm so lost. And it's all in caps, too. I don't let my kids control anything I do. They not my parents. Okay, good. Yeah, I would hope you don't, like, have your kids controlling the bills or something. Like, what? I'd rather pay the price for expressing myself than to pay the price for not expressing myself. Would you rather be hated for who you are or loved for who you aren't? Yeah, well, that's the thing. I'm not avoiding expressing myself. I am expressing myself. It's just, you're a Nazi. Go nuts and express yourself to your heart's content. It's not like everybody else is really a Nazi also. They're just avoiding it. They're just afraid of what'll happen. The vast majority of people are not like that. Do you think he realizes that? I give orders. I don't take advice. Okay, well, that's just stupid. I tweet to wake the woke. Why would you need to wake the woke? If the woke are woke, then they're awake, right? I just woke up from a nap, so I'm energized and super clear. Do this next piece of math with me and see if it adds up. Men get threatened to not see their kids all the time. I don't understand. What piece of math are we looking for? Wow, he actually did delete a bunch of stuff. He deleted a ton of stuff. Let me pull up the screen grab that I have here. I recorded this like a couple of days before recording this. So let's see here. What do we got? Free Puff, February 6th. Free Puff. Like, what an absolutely disgusting thing to say, honestly. Yeah, he deleted all of these tweets that I have up here. Just for clarity, they're trying to make an example out of Puff. Me and my brother had our issues with these white people trying to use Puff to scare people. I'm neither scared nor brave. This just me. And the community note says, just for clarity, Diddy is charged with sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, racketeering, conspiracy, transportation to engage in prostitution. Oh my God. I just found out that Puff is not allowed to make or collect money while he's locked up, so I must send his half of the money to Justin. Who's ever after Puff, we got to find out exactly who they are. Okay, cool. Play off the grid. My heart has not jumped not one moment today. I got steel in my veins, God mode. Puff, we love you. Just imagine being defended by Kanye West. That is a hard pass. Thank you. Elon, they kicked me off Instagram. So happy you bought X. And he posted a picture of him just logged out. And it says, the post doesn't definitively prove he's banned, rather logged out. His account is still active with stories at the time of writing this. Like, we couldn't check that. What is wrong with him? I just think that he's dumb as dog shit. I really don't think that this is like a mental illness type of deal, or maybe a little bit, but he's a racist piece of shit, and he's really fucking stupid, in my opinion. Combining that with, like, you know, some mental condition that he's dealing with, and we get what we've got here. But I know a ton of bipolar people. I know people with schizophrenia.
Big shout out to you for making it through the hectic holiday season. This new year, get clean, quality, pregnancy nutrient support off your to-do list, including Ritual's best-selling Essential Prenatal Multivitamin, designed with 12 traceable key ingredients to support a healthy pregnancy. With big changes coming up, take the small steps now and start today with 30% off a 3-month supply at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
I know people who have autism and everything else, and none of them are like this at all. This God's money, I'm rich for times like this. God is the greatest. Our unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb. We can win it all without firing a shot. Elijah Muhammad, okay? I stood up for Puff, and I'm still winning 20 Grammys next year and doing the Super Bowl. Is he doing the Super Bowl? Don't tell me he's doing the Super Bowl. Who is playing halftime show in Super Bowl? Okay, Kendrick Lamar. Wow. Is Kanye West doing Super Bowl? Is he just completely full of it? Oh my God, there's a controversy around it. Kanye West sparks controversy after saying Kendrick Lamar should call for Diddy's freedom at the Super Bowl. Oh my God, bro. Really? Does he? He has a grill that says Balenciaga. Didn't Balenciaga get, exposed for having some child exploitation thing or something like that? This dude is wearing a Balenciaga thing. After previously calling for Sean Diddy Combs' release, Kanye West sparked more controversy on Sunday by urging Kendrick Lamar to call for the disgraced music mogul's freedom during a Super Bowl performance. Kanye has been widely criticized for his antics on social media platform X. Kendrick Lamar needs to scream free Puff from the Super Bowl stage, and we all know why, and I'm going to respectfully leave it light just like that. But that's the hypocrisy. One person's in jail and the other is at the Super Bowl. Jesus Christ. Like, really, this guy needs help. Honestly. Never apologizing for my Jewish comments. I can say whatever I want to say forever. Where's my apology for freezing my accounts? S my D. How's that for an apology? Okay, so I clicked on some visibility limited tweets. Imagine what you have to do on Twitter to get your tweets limited. Here's one of them. Any person come in my face and ask me about that puff stuff. I'm just trying so hard to censor. I'm stealing off them immediately. I don't care if you 8 feet tall. I'm a jump and steal off you. No more people telling me what color hat to wear. If you ask me on the phone, I'm hanging up immediately and never speaking to you again. If you DM me, I'm blocking you. You people are controlled and broke. All you Kamala-loving people, lots of slurs mixed in here, all got everything to say about my opinions when you're just doing what people make you do for money. More slurs. People don't mean gay either. It means a slur, like it always meant, you effing slur. Holy Christ. I'm actually surprised that this one was limited on Twitter. Here are some replies. Can someone explain what's going on? He's a racist piece of shit. That's what's going on. Isn't that clear by now? Bro, try to use punctuation and you seriously didn't need to type in block letters. That's funny. Yes, exactly. So, were you at the Diddy parties? This person asks. Oh my God, people posting like Bible verses in the chat here too. So you saying Puff Daddy innocent? No, he isn't. He is not innocent at all. He is very clearly guilty as they come. Tell us you are on the Diddy list without telling us you're on the Diddy list. Were you involved in Puff or Epstein's shenanigans? You'll be found out if so. It's only a matter of time. I'm actually surprised people are like tweeting about that. All right, here's another limited one. Heck, all this woke stuff, they putting fat people on the runway. Nobody want to see that. It's unhealthy. It promotes obesity. And the wild stuff is if the fat people lose weight, then they lose their acceptance for Adele because she actually has another talent than being used as a pawn for political agendas. What? I am so lost. It is ridiculous. Here are some responses. Mind you, Kanye's mama looked like Precious. I don't know who Precious is, and I don't know what she looked like. Crazy thing is that Kanye could get hacked, and we would never know because there's nothing a hacker could say that would, like, out Kanye. Yeah. I see the storm brewing, Kanye, but let's not get caught in the undertow of hate. The runway is a canvas, and bodies come in all shapes and sizes. Can't we celebrate the beauty of diversity rather than tearing each other down? You are barking up the wrong tree, as one might say. All right, let me just scroll through a little bit more here. Be clear, you Jewish people don't run me no more. This is a free country, and this is my free opinion. You abort black children for stem cells. Abortion is murder, and it's pushed onto the black and Latino communities. Okay.
Big shout out to you for making it through the hectic holiday season. This new year, get clean, quality, pregnancy nutrient support off your to-do list, including Ritual's best-selling Essential Prenatal Multivitamin, designed with 12 traceable key ingredients to support a healthy pregnancy. With big changes coming up, take the small steps now and start today with 30% off a 3-month supply at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge. From worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
So much here. Oh my God. Stem cell research does not require abortions. One way of getting stem cells that is no longer done was to take an egg cell and a sperm cell, put them in a petri dish for 3 days, and now you have like 150 stem cells. And stem cells can like the research possibilities are endless with these things. It's incredible what you can do with stem cell research. Like cure cancers, regrow organs for people, and all kinds of stuff. Now they use stem cells from umbilical cords and stuff. And I believe there are stem cells in like baby teeth and things. Anyway, that's just wrong. He's just wrong. You abort black children. I mean, people of all sorts get abortions. So I mean, there's nothing like crazy or unexpected about this. And Kanye likes to call it a genocide. The reason it's not is because it's about bodily autonomy. People are choosing to get this done. If it were being imposed on them, then it would definitely be a genocide. If they were being forced to get abortions, they're not. This is a choice that people make. You're not committing a genocide by, like, for example, providing condoms to an underserved minority community. That is not a genocide. Like, please get help, man. Really. He's beyond help at this point. Here's a response from somebody. You choose to make your political statement over respect for your children, over their developing moral compass, over your daughter's self-respect? No, not for your politics. This is all for Kanye West, the man who couldn't control himself and drove his entire, and there was more, but it's deleted now. That's a really good point. You choose to make your political statement over your daughter's self-respect and privacy and everything else. This is for Kanye West, absolutely. Why do you have all these issues with Jews, somebody else says. Why is he targeting Jewish people again and again? All right, let's check out another one here. Oh my God, it was just this massive, insane screed. Anybody work for me that don't agree, F you, quit. You're most likely charging too much anyway. We all being used by the system. Every tweet I make promotes Elon's platform and the most lit person that ever been on Twitter. Shopify is not my platform. I'm the one-man army because no other celebrity or non-celebrity got the power to do and that wouldn't even if they did. Okay. This is a classic symptom of bipolar disorder. Grandiose delusions of grandiosity. Delusions that you are the biggest and the best, the smartest, the strongest, the everything. He is very famous and he's also very rich, but he's not the most famous or the most rich by any stretch. And he's certainly not the smartest. It's delusion. Y'all watch me burn alive. Now it's F everybody. All 27 of you. Who? 27? Is he talking about someone specific? I don't need your support if you aren't Yeezy Gang and doing everything in your power to further my agendas. Then F you, it's me and the people, whether I'm in a $35 million mansion or, and then there's, gets cut off. Okay, there are three theirs, T-H-E-I-R-S, T-H-E-R-E-S, and T-H-E-Y''RES. All right, yes, that's correct. That's how the English language works. That's some hunky. I don't got time to be figuring that out when I tweet. There's nothing whiter than English itself. People who speak perfect English be broke. Schools and religions are made to control and limit critical thinking. Wow. Some of my best friends are Jewish and I don't trust any of them. I have dominion over my wife. This ain't no woke feminist. She's with a billionaire. Why would she listen to any of you dumb, broke people? People say the red carpet look was her decision. Yes, I don't make her do nothing she doesn't want to, but she definitely something. Yeah, his wife famously went to the red carpet at the Grammys and just like pulled her coat off. She was completely naked under the coat, just stood there completely naked. Why? Got me. One can only guess. Oh my God, dude. My support of Puff is completely selfish. I need to find whoever been trying to out black moguls. I don't know what that means. He's just like throwing out slurs randomly, one after another. It looks like he's tweeting like every 5 minutes. I'm not gentle, I'm king. Now amongst yourselves, okay? I tour for the money. I'd rather be playing The Last of Us Part 1 and 2, which is made by Jewish people. Good job, thank you.
Geico's motorcycle expertise gives me the coverage I need, like 24/7 claims. I'm on cloud 9.
Disclaimer, clouds are wholly unable to support the weight of an adult human.
What's happening?
Furthermore, clouds are not numbered. Even if you procured a jetpack and searched, you'd find no cloud numbered 9. However, at that altitude, you'd likely befriend a flock of migrating snow geese.
Geese?
Who'd encourage you to leave your 24/7 Geico motorcycle claims insurance behind, as they would take you in and even share their dinner of crickets and clovers with you.
Ew.
Geico assumes no liability for any indigestion that may occur from a clover cricket dinner. Geico, expertise for your motorcycle.
I turned down 3 photos this week with Make-A-Wish kids in wheelchairs. This is just like, why is he trying to convince you that he is the biggest piece of trash alive? Who revels in the fact that they turned down 3 Make-A-Wish kids in wheelchairs? Like, Make-A-Wish is for kids who are dying, who are going to be dead soon. John Cena, I think he's got the record for the most Make-A-Wish fulfillments or something. I'm not 100% sure on that. He meets people all the time. Why would you revel in not fulfilling a dying child's last wish? Why are you proud of that? Oh my God, I just lost my place. That sucks. I know people thinking he talking all that on the internet, but he won't say it to my face. Why would I ever let you talk to me? You're broke, you dumb slur. This from the person with the pink polo to all you slur ass rap slur that never came out of your mouth sideways. I'm the Don. Yay over here, everything and everyone. Go to your day job and talk about me. But always remember, you're broke and you have a boss and you have to do something to keep your boss happy. Holy Christ. This is just like insane. Somebody here says, you're the most underrated artist of all time. Influential. And somebody posted the Barbie meme. That's all freaked out. That's funny. All right, let me see if I can find more crazy stuff. All white people are racist. All you broke people, women, white people, Jews, it's whatever. Jewish people actually hate white people and use black people. Somebody responds, aren't Jews white? I'm black and Jewish. What do I do? Laughing emoji. Bro's X payout is about to be $1 trillion after tonight. Jesus Christ. People, newsflash, white people and Jewish people are different. You can get money with Jewish people, but they always gonna steal and invite you over to their house on Friday. White people do not mess with black people. They leave that to the Jews. If you think you're getting money with a white person, it's not true. That so-called white person is actually Jewish. Jews hate whites because of the Germans from World War II. Somebody says, wait, hold the fort. What happened in World War II? You know, yay, a comma doesn't cost anything. I love it, dude. This is expert trolling. And it was edited. It was an edited tweet. Someone says, what could you have possibly edited on this, lol? Oh my God. Somebody replies, government should be as transparent as Kanye's wife's Grammy dress. Oh my God, dude. This is nuts. 2.77 billion and counting. Is that what he's worth? I don't know. I will say nothing bad or against China. They always showed me love when Americans turned their backs on me because of a red hat or a t-shirt. I get money with China. I love China. God had my mom bring me there when I was 10 for a reason. It's so fascinating to me that he also believes in God with all this stuff. He's given us a few kind of glimpses into his mindset, and here's what I've derived. He has 2 moral frameworks that he's working with, a primary and a secondary. And his primary seems to be white nationalism, just complete out of his head extreme Nazi stuff. And his secondary is Christian. So he goes with the secondary sometimes, but the primary, the Nazi stuff, takes over anytime there's a conflict or for any reason at all. What he's saying here about Jews being just, they're bad people. They're incapable of being good people. If they are taking advantage of you, then they're Jewish. That was straight out of the Nazi, dogma, what they believed, that Jews were just incapable of being good people because they had something in their bloodline that just tainted it. They were literally like, you couldn't convert out of it. You were just going to be a bad person, bottom line. And that's what he's repeating. Now, he went on one of these absolute psychotic screeds like back in 2022, went on Alex Jones and talked all this stuff. And afterward came out and apologized in Hebrew on October 7th when all that stuff happened in Israel. Kanye went dead silent, and then he posts this to his Instagram. I sincerely apologize to the Jewish community for my unplanned outburst. Caused my words or actions. It was not my intention to hurt or disrespect, and I deeply regret any pain I may have caused. I am committed to starting with my life and learning from this experience to ensure greater sensitivity and understanding in the future. Your forgiveness is important to me, and I'm committed to making amends and promoting unity. This is after this whole racist screed, and then after October 7th. So here's my read on the situation. I think that Kanye goes where the political winds take him. He's along for the ride. And right now, the political winds are flying him right through Nazi town on Twitter. After October 7th, there was nothing but like Zionist messaging where a lot of Christians on Twitter were talking about how they loved Israel so much because Israel must exist for Jesus to come back. That's like the basis for their belief. So a lot of far-right Christian nationalists are also Zionists because they want Jews to be there so Jesus can return. So Kanye sees all of that and then posts this apology thinking that he's doing the right thing all of a sudden. And now the political winds have shifted once again, and we end up with this. This guy, at this point, I say that this guy needs help. I don't even think that's the case. He's beyond help at this point, I've got to say. This dude is at the point now where he's just a complete piece of trash, and it's on him. I'm not advocating for help anymore. It's on him to get the help if he wants it. I don't even care anymore. I've written him off. Straight white Americans get blamed for everything. The Jews teach black people to hate white people because they hate white people, while the Jews control people with miseducation and control of the banks. The Jews play victim when they are the true earthly hidden power and oppressors. My God, this is straight out of Nazi dogma. It's insane. It's almost like he's gone in and read history books to understand why Jews were bad. It's wild, just wild. And of course, there's this famous photo right here. Candace Owens with Kanye West, both of them wearing shirts that say White Lives Matter. Of course, White Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter as a slogan never meant Black Lives Matter and no other lives matter. It meant Black Lives Matter too, in addition to all the other lives, because it feels like they don't. Right-wing extremists come in and start saying all lives matter, which is an obvious statement. Yes, of course they do, but it's a protest to a protest. Black Lives Matter is protesting bad treatment, and a group is protesting their complaints about the system. Basically, in effect, they're saying, you're worthless and we don't care about you, and this is stupid and nobody should be listening to you. When they say all lives matter, that's what they mean. Of course, all lives matter. But there's subtext to what they're saying and when they're saying it and why. And then there's another step beyond all lives matter. White lives matter. Of course, white lives matter. Nobody denies that. The only reason anybody would ever have to say something like this is to signal that they aren't just protesting BLM. They're not just protesting black people. They are advocating for Nazis. Jesus Christ, dude, really. And just to wrap it up, one more bit I want to show you guys. This is just Pearly Things. She's also a Nazi. Anyway, she had Andrew Tate on her show. Listen to what Andrew Tate had to say about Kanye West here. This actually surprised me for some reason. I don't know why. By the way, this clip right here, this is from December 25th, 2022. This is after his first psychotic screed.
Because Kanye clearly has options.
She
right?
did not want to be a housewife.
No,
she was a project.
Okay.
Yeah, why did she go, or I'm sorry, why did Kanye decide to marry Kim Kardashian? Because they say she a hoe, quote unquote.
I understand. I'm just asking. Because some guys do pick.
Yeah, they do. And it's a really good point. And I have nothing bad to say about Kanye. In fact, I think a lot of the work he's doing now in terms of attacking the Matrix is important. But
Really? Do you think Kanye is doing a lot of good work, quote unquote, attacking the Matrix? Are you kidding me? I don't know why, but to hear Andrew Tate say that praising Hitler was a good thing just took me off guard. I should have expected it. Just for good measure, let me show you some of Kanye West's swag that he's working with right now, some of his merch. This is on New York Post. Online merchandise for 2024 presidential campaign of rapper Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, seemingly featured a logo resembling that of a swastika. Yeah, a swastika with the Star of David. Now, I'm not 100% sure if Kanye himself was selling this, but it was merch at the very least. And he did post a picture of that swastika / Star of David. Also, there's this one right here. Ye 24. Ye 24. That's good branding right there, right? It's very clear what he's alluding to. This is actually made by 4chan, but has been available for sale, to my knowledge. And it perfectly reflects his personality, what he stands for, what he believes in. I mean, my God, man. This is just whacked out. It is whacked out. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Nick Fuentes. If you watch me, probably. But Fuentes actually commented on it too. Apparently, Fuentes was helping Kanye West back in 2022 with a presidential campaign, quote unquote. And he apparently parted ways with him because of his blasphemy. I mean, Kanye West blasphemy. And now he has more things to say. Kanye West retweeted this video that Nick Fuentes released.
And I'm really eager to talk about what's happening with Ye because it's so awesome. He's just awesome. And I don't mean to glaze. I know my audience is super racist. And when I praise a black person, they go, oh, well, you like this black guy.
He's proud of that. He's proud that his audience is racist. He likes that.
But it's just true. The world sucks. Everything that we're getting is fake. Everything that we're getting is... And once in a while, we get something that's really awesome. It's just real. We have a world of fakers, posers, people trying to sell us on garbage. Nobody's honest.
And Kanye's the only honest one, I guess.
Nobody's real. Everybody's trying to get one over on you. Everybody's trying to be perceived a certain way. And once in a while, rarely, we just get something that's awesome. We get something that's actually good, actually cool, real. And almost all the time it comes from one person. It comes from Ye.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I should probably address, he legally changed his name to Ye. I'm not using the name Ye because I believe he's using that name to escape accountability and protect the Kanye brand from being tarnished with his political beliefs. I'm going to continue to call him Kanye. I think this is a video of their breakup originally, Fuentes and Kanye.
Kind of a big, tough black pill for all of us to swallow tonight. Not exactly surprising. Disappointing, but not really a surprise. Our featured story tonight, we're talking about Ye, formerly a presidential candidate in this election who has officially apologized to the Jews.
Yeah, this is after he posted that. Wow, man. And this disappoints Nick Fuentes.
And last night at midnight on Christmas, Ye officially and formally apologized to the Jews in Hebrew for a so-called anti-Semitic outburst in which he praised Hitler. And we don't know if we're talking about the outburst last week or if it was about what happened last year.
I would assume all of it. But by the way, you got to get rid of that mustache, bro. Really, this is bad. I know you don't have any friends, but I will be that person who, in lieu of a friend, will tell you that you look like you're welcome.
But it doesn't really make a difference. He apologized, and it's so over. It's a total capitulation. I never thought I would see it.
Jesus Christ, man. It's just insane. It is absolutely insane. It's so weird to see a white nationalist black person. Like, you'd think that their connection to that part of society being mistreated by the white community the way that black people are in the United States, you'd think that that would like open his eyes to the fact that there is systemic oppression and that this is wrong. But no.
But they don't deserve to be in charge of everything because they don't put Christ in.
He's talking about Jews. It's Kanye talking to Gavin McInnes right now, the person that started the Proud Boys. He's not the leader anymore, but he started them.
How do you legislate that?
They need to work for Christians. Jews should work for Christians. I'll hire a Jewish person in a second.
No, he wouldn't.
If I knew they weren't a spy and I could look through their phone and follow them to their house and have a camera all in their living room.
Why is that funny? That's not funny. This is just nuts. It's absolutely nuts.
This sort of ethnomasochistic cultural suicide tend not really to be Jewish. I call them ginos, Jews in name only.
Awful name, first of all, Gavin. Second, ethnomasochistic group. I guess he's saying the bad Jews, quote unquote. Jews in name only.
It's liberal elite whites you should have a beef with.
Yeah, but I lump them all in together. That's what I did. That's
good.
That's why the tweet said that. Jewish people.
Okay. But this trait, like, blacks are overrepresented in violent crime. But when you meet an individual black person, you don't apply that. You start with a fresh slate every time you meet someone. Do you do that with Jews?
Nope.
This intervention isn't going very well.
That is not funny. I don't understand. This is insane. Yeah, Gavin McInnes said he was having an intervention because Jews aren't all bad, quote unquote. He's trying to convince Kanye to target specific Jews. I mean, what is wrong with these people? What is wrong with them? That is insane. Tell me what you think in the comments. We'll be right back. Don't forget to check out my Patreon. Also, take a look at my website, owenmorgan.com. I just finished writing a book titled Was Hitler an Atheist? It talks about religions during the Third Reich and how they work together. Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Protestants. And I even address the lies told by the evangelical world about Bonhoeffer. It's on Audible and Amazon. Kash Patel's been nominated for Director of FBI. He's going through this nomination process of being asked a bunch of questions. If you don't know Kash Patel, let me just introduce you. This is him joking about selling classified documents with Julie Green, famous for being a Trump prophet of the Trump theology, and Clay Clark, who has his own whole set of problems.
And I'm just going to kind of do that. That's my angle.
And we'll have a stuffed Biden sleeping on the Delaware beach thing.
We could bring in the real Biden or a stuffed Biden. You couldn't tell the difference. People would go, how do I know if this is the real one?
Wow, that's so funny. God, these guys are so funny. They know how to put a joke together, right?
Or not. They both are the same.
We could sell the classified docs he stole. We'll do an auction.
I'm
so buying it. Yeah.
And I'm just going to kind of do that. That's my angle.
And we'll have a stuffed Biden.
So anyway, that's just an example of some of the stupid that Kash Patel talks about. He's also a complete conspiracy theorist to the core. Here's another thing that Kash Patel's been up to.
Mr. Patel has also peddled conspiracy theories for his own financial benefit, promoting a line of dietary supplements that claim to help people detox from COVID-19 vaccines. Mr. Patel has also peddled conspiracy.
How vile is that? To sell a, quote unquote, a detox for people that got vaccinated but don't want to be anymore. This is as low as the people that sold that. Do you remember that thing they claimed was like an air purifier, and you put it in your pocket basically, and it protects you from quote unquote vaccine shedding? And it was just a little tiny box with a little itty bitty fan in it, and you flip it on, and the fan blows, and it's in your pocket. And they claim that it protects you from vaccine shedding. I mean, it's just scamming gullible suckers is all that is, and as funny as I find that, it's wrong. It is morally wrong and unacceptable in my mind. And Kash Patel did some of that. On top of that, if you don't know who Kash Patel is at all, people believe that he's...
I tease him about that.
People believe that he's Q.
Guys, tune in at 6. We'll have a lot more with Kash. Many of whom refer to as Q, but I don't know. I don't think so.
Oh my God! See how he is? I know. I tease him about that too.
Yeah, listen. Hey. He certainly would know. If there's someone that could, he has not fully denied. So,
my God, dude, it's really sad. These people on screen know better. They know that there is no Q. I don't want to go down the whole rabbit hole because this is about Kash Patel over anybody else, but he is a top contender for who Q might be. If you are unfamiliar with this whole like belief system, there's a messaging board kind of like Reddit called 4chan where a bunch of people post on there, and it's absolutely psychotic. It's like Nazi stuff. It's all Nazi level stuff. And they claimed on 4chan that some random dude claimed to have Q clearance, Q level security clearance, which is the highest level security clearance available. It's in the Department of Energy because of nuclear secrets and stuff. So this guy called himself Q Clearance Patriot, and he started messaging all kinds of things on 4chan about how Hillary Clinton is about to be like arrested and the National Guard is going to, all this ridiculous nonsense. And he kept posting stupid stuff like this. None of it came true. None of it. But people seem to believe it. I don't know why. The people on 4chan believed it. The mods stickied it to like the top of the board and all kinds of crazy stuff. Eventually, Q basically was talked into moving to 8chan by the guy who created 8chan or by the moderator of 8chan or whatever. 8chan is like 4chan, except there are literally no rules about what you can say or do. The servers for 8chan are hosted in the Philippines, and there's all kinds of CP and everything on there. Everything. I mean, really, really vile shit. So anyway, Q moves to 8chan, and then Q's whole personality changed from that moment on. It was very clear that the moderator of 8chan took over the QAnon account. It started out as Paul Ferber originally, which is just some random like software engineer. And he had a little bit of help from Tracy Beans Diaz. She's a public figure on the right. When they moved to 8chan, it was taken over by Ron Watkins. Ron Watkins is his name. Ron Watkins is Q. That's who you're thinking of when you hear the name Q. It's this guy right here. This is the real Q. He ran for Congress in Arizona not too long ago.
My name is Ron Watkins, and I am not a politician. I am an entrepreneur, and I'm a computer scientist.
Yeah, again, he moderates the 8chan forum. He is he's like a server administrator, basically.
We have to send a fighter, and I am your fighter. I am fighting for you. If you send me to DC, you will know that I will be fighting against this evil, and I will make sure that we drive them back, and I will make sure that your rights are kept.
Okay.
Biggest issue for this district is the border wall. The border wall was not completed, and there are actually sections of it that were destroyed. And I went down to those sections and I asked the locals, how did this section of the border wall get destroyed? And they told me that Biden sent the Army Corps of Engineers down there to destroy the border wall for flood prevention issues. So
the people near the border wall told you that Biden had the border wall destroyed. Oh my God.
I went down there and I saw with my own eyes, I saw the coyotes sitting right across the border.
Coyotes, of course, are people that they do human trafficking, basically, right? Anyway, that's Q. If you were wondering, that's the real Q. It's not Kash Patel. Dude's just completely full of shit. He lost his election, by the way.
The coyotes looked me in the eyes and they ran away.
Because they were afraid of him, you see. They looked him in the eye and they were afraid of him.
In the eyes and they ran away. I want to say that we would not even be in Ukraine if President Biden did not shut down the Keystone Pipeline on the first day. Because
that didn't happen.
Now that that's shut down, we have to get our oil, and we're getting it from Russia, and we're getting all these problems through the Ukraine, and that would not have happened if Biden did not.
So you see, the Ukraine, the pipeline helped prompt Russia to invade Ukraine.
Yes, sir, because we've got all of this oil coming through from Russia to the United States, and they want the better route to bring the oil through.
That's not why they went into Ukraine. They went into Ukraine because Ukraine didn't want to be part of NATO. Listen, you're trying to work on the national stage and you don't even know why the war started in Ukraine.
God, he got bodied. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the fact that Kash Patel is suspected to be Q. It's Ron Watkins, not Kash Patel. But Cash likes to play into it and pretend, I don't know, who's Q?
So we'll see.
Oh my God, you're starting so much here. It's
So stupid. Do you know that, I'm sorry, just get a little aside here. This is Kimberly Guilfoyle on the right. This is Don Jr.'s wife. Do you know that she's Gavin Newsom's ex-wife? For real. Anyway, here's why I wanted to talk about Kash Patel in the first place. Because Kash Patel is going through the process of being confirmed as FBI director by the Senate, I believe. Just listen to this little thing right here.
Stu Peters, does that name ring a bell?
I'm sorry, what?
Are you familiar with Mr. Stu Peters?
Not off the top of my head.
Not off the top of my head. He's not familiar with Stu Peters off the top of his head. Well, that's interesting.
He made 8 separate appearances on his podcast. He promoted outrageous conspiracy theories and worked with a prominent neo-Nazi. There are more. Ted Nugent, it goes on, list goes on. I'm just asking, when it comes to your association with individuals, why are so many of them in this category?
The category of neo-Nazi.
My association, as you loosely define it, is by appearing in media over 1,000 times to take on people who are putting on conspiratorial theories and to devour them of their false impressions and to talk to them about the truth. That is something that I will always continue to fight for, Senator.
Okay, well, that was a good answer if it were true. It's a complete lie, and he knows that it's a lie. He lied under oath. He goes on Stu Peters consistently. He's been on there a billion times. Look, this is just a compilation that was put together, I think, by Right Wing Watch, maybe?
Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Stu. Always love coming on your show.
Kash Patel, thank you so much for making the time to be here with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Stu. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Stu. Appreciate it. See you soon.
I got to go, Kash. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thanks,
up
Stu.
against a hard break here. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it, Stu.
Kash Patel, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Stu. Appreciate it. You've got a great show.
Thank you.
Wow, that's kind of awkward, right? Just caught in a flat-out, blatant lie. The reason that it's important that he knew Stu Peters in the first place is pretty straightforward. If you're unfamiliar with Stu Peters, let me just show you 2 clips, just 2 clips from him, okay? I talk about Stu Peters pretty often, but here's just one example of who the guy is. Stu Peters tweets before Mein Kampf, and he's wearing a hat backwards and a hoodie and stuff. After Mein Kampf, he's wearing a suit. Message is pretty clear, right? Mein Kampf, of all things. Or how about this one right here?
Do they have
Sorry, turn it down.
to say these
Hold on.
outlandish things?
All right. John Miller is one of his guests.
Do they have to say these outlandish things to make up for the fact that if it weren't for this sort of ridiculous, cartoonish death narrative that we've been sold, a lot of people would be looking at the 1930s through 1940s saying, not only does this make a lot of sense, not only does this kind of all add up and history play itself out in the way that we'd expect it to, but there's a lot of similarities to today. And you can't afford to have people start to make those connections. So they come in with this just outlandish narrative where it's if you put it in a movie, people would say, I didn't like that movie because
That is this just outlandish story of the Holocaust.
I just thought it was a little too cartoonish. I didn't think it was realistic. And that's the narrative we've been sold. And to make Hitler out to be this obscene monster, that's the only way they can essentially remedy this story so that you can say it's clear who the bad guys were and it's clear who the good guys were. Because when you take that part out of the narrative, then it's not really as clear who the evil ones are.
How depraved is this shit? How depraved is this? This is disgusting. This is Stu Peters, okay? You think that's bad? That's just a guest he had on. He has said the same shit himself personally.
And Weimar, of course, was the birthplace of the transgenderism and gay rights movements that...
No, it wasn't. Weimar, by the way, Weimar was the government in Germany after World War I. After they lost World War I, they had to sign the Treaty of Versailles, and they were forced to adopt democracy, basically.
Have once again reared their ugly heads to plague Western Christian society, especially America. All of this was happening with the full blessing of the Weimar government, which was largely controlled by Jews.
What an absolutely ass-backward, wild thing to say. Dude is literally blaming Jews for trans people right now. Like, really. What broke in you? that you would say such a thing, that you would even come to a conclusion like that, an incorrect conclusion like that. Weimar Germany, the Weimar Republic, was the government that was destroyed by the Nazi movement after Hitler took control. It was the democracy that was destroyed. And Stu Peters is demonizing German democracy and praising the Nazi government for destroying it.
The Jews controlled the German court system. Jews controlled the German banking system.
No. There's a conspiracy about the Rothschilds. It's a family, a Jewish kind of banking family or whatever. I read this whole thing about the Rothschilds, but they're just a family. That's it. They're a family that got rich from currency exchange, effectively. They were early currency exchange people, and they made money from it because at the time, making money from interest was kind of against the law in Christianity. Like, Christians weren't supposed to earn interest off of each other. So the Rothschilds come along as a Jewish family, and they were allowed to charge interest. And in fact, they were encouraged to by the bank, the Christian banks, so that the banks could make money, and it would be somebody other than a Christian that was doing it. They were capitalists, naturally, and that pissed people off. Anyway, Hitler accused the Rothschilds of controlling, the media, controlling the banks, and the everything, when in reality, that's complete misrepresentation of all of it, obviously.
The Jewish people had unprecedented overrepresentation in Germany's government, and they ruled the numerous and hyper-violent communist factions that were trying to take over the country, both by force and at the ballot box. The Jews also ruled the biggest cultural forces of the time, which were often...
This is all bullshit. It's all Nazi nonsense. It's all Nazi propaganda that he's spreading. None of this is true.
Merged with academia, with the medical field, maximum infiltration for maximum effect. Sound familiar? They would set their crosshairs on something. They would decide on something that they wanted to completely destroy, some sense of normalcy that they wanted to chip away at, and they'd legitimize it through phony academic and medical studies, just like they continue to do right now.
That's a lie. It's not true. This is Nazi propaganda. And again, this is who Kash Patel hangs out with. This is where he goes. This is not an adversarial conversation. None of the 8 appearances he made were adversarial conversations. He said, "Thanks so much for having me, Stu. I really appreciate it. You're such a good guy." Stu Peters is a full-blown, self-avowed, Hitler-loving Nazi. I mean, this is like a 9-minute video, so we can't watch the whole thing, but you get the idea. In this video, he basically says that the things that Hitler did was heroic. Well, that's not basically what he said. That's what he said. He said Hitler acted in a heroic way by stopping these Jews from taking over culture or something to that effect. He basically called Hitler a hero.
And one of the most disgusting, most revolting figures of the entire Weimar Republic was a man called Magnus Hirschfeld.
Hirschfeld is his name. And no, he was just a gay dude, like really, that ran a sexology institute that the Nazis destroyed. Anyway, he said that Hitler was a hero in that effectively. And he goes on this program and says to Fresh and Fit that that's not true.
I have 3 kids. I don't know if you're a dad. I don't know if you're a dad. I am a dad. And if you walk up to me and tell me I'm coming for your kids...
Who said that?
Prepare to die, amigo.
Game on.
Prepare to f***ing die.
Who said that? Who is saying this?
So where are the millions of men in this country whose kids these are coming for? Where are the millions of men whose kids are being indoctrinated with critical race theory and told to hate themselves because their skin color is white?
This is not happening. This is complete delusion.
Yeah. Or to go chop their fucking off, or that they'll be happy if they mutilate themselves and become the opposite sex. They go to school as Tony and they come home as Ginger.
This is complete nonsense. All of it. All the way down. This is the kind of person that Stu Peters is. Actually, I meant to play this clip, but that one was good enough too. I'll leave it in.
Yesterday, Newsweek called me a pro-Hitler Nazi. Raw Story called me a pro-Hitler Nazi. I don't know how these people get away. I mean, they.
Well, I mean, you said it.
They said that I was a Holocaust denier, which is completely false, emphatically false.
Well, what Holocaust denier means something very specific. It means that you deny aspect of the Holocaust, or you twist it around or revise it or whatever. And that is 100% real. It is absolutely true. He 100% for sure does do that. Obviously, we listened to it.
As a matter of fact, they made up a quote out of whole cloth and said, Stu Peters said, quote, Hitler is a hero.
He said that. That wasn't made up out of whole cloth. We were just listening to that video.
I have never said any such thing. And they can print this stuff with impunity because the hubris is so
No, they can't print that with an impunity, actually. If it were a lie, you could sue them for libel. Notice he doesn't do that. He's a millionaire. He's over a millionaire. He's got way more than that. He is massively famous in this field. He's got so many subscribers, it's ridiculous. Like 15 times more viewers than me, by far. He could sue them if they lied about him. He doesn't sue them. Is that weird?
because there's no accountability. Yeah. And so they did this as a result of me announcing the Extreme Accountability event.
Okay.
And that's what we are going to.
Extreme Accountability event is a whole separate subject. He tried to hold a conference where he advocates for extreme accountability, quote unquote, which means hanging people that he disagrees with, really. Anyway, he was basically, the conference venue found out what he meant when he said that, and they canceled the contract. That's all. At any rate, that's who Kash Patel is hanging out with. These are the people whose shows he is appearing, or on whose shows that he's appearing. These are the people he's hanging around with, and he wants to pretend he doesn't know these people.
Stu Peters, does that name ring a bell?
I'm sorry, what?
Are you familiar with Mr. Stu Peters?
Not off the top of my head.
Not off the top of your head, you say. You don't know Stu Peters, you say. That is really interesting. That is an interesting thing for you to say after this.
Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Stu. Always love coming on your show.
Kash Patel, thank you so much for making the time to be here with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Stu. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Stu. Appreciate it. See you soon.
I got to go, Kash. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
That doesn't sound adversarial to me. That sounds like you know exactly who that is and that you're friendly with him, that you like what he does. You like the things that he talks about. You like his connection with this specific community. Here's an article from Washington Post on Kash Patel. Asked about his appearances on the podcast of far-right commentator Stu Peters, Kash Patel told Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois he was not familiar off the top of his head with Stu Peters. You made 8 separate appearances on his podcast. He promoted outrageous conspiracy theories and worked with a prominent neo-Nazi, Durbin responded. I'm just asking, when it comes to your association with individuals, why are so many of them in this category? I don't believe that it's even necessary to say that he worked with a prominent neo-Nazi. Stu Peters is a prominent neo-Nazi. He is a Nazi.
Hirschfeld was a Jewish physician and self-proclaimed sexologist who pioneered transgenderism at his Berlin-based Institute for Sexual Research.
He tried to normalize being LGBT outside the norm, basically. He tried to normalize it. He had tens of thousands of books, pictures, writings, whatever, on sexual subjects. About 30,000 on the high end of the estimates. And the Nazis showed up, got out of their van, went inside, destroyed picture frames, threw like busts to each other, broke them on the floor, poured red ink all over the books and the pictures, and burned stuff. They were looking for Hirschfeld and asked where he was. They were told he was in France on a business trip, and they said, good, maybe he'll snuff it without us, quote unquote. He did die in 1936. This happened in, I think, 33, pretty close to immediately after Hitler took control of the government. I don't remember when this happened, actually. I can find out. May 1933, May 6, 1933 is when they raided Hirschfeld's Institute of Sexology, I think is what it's called. And he had between 12,000 and 20,000 books. Estimates vary. So this was 1 month after the Jewish boycott, the April 1st Jewish boycott, 1 month. And it was basically 3 or 4 months after Hitler took control and started doing psychotic shit. They said Hopefully he'll snuff it without us. Then we won't need to string him up or beat him to death.
Hirschfeld himself was a homosexual. He was the father of transgenderism.
Hirschfeld, and no, he wasn't. I mean, trans people have existed for like ever.
He's still hailed as a hero today by many a pervert. He was the first person to perform a male-to-female operation.
I'm sorry for the slurs. I will cut them out in the final product. Hirschfeld was on the cutting edge of science at the time in the 1930s. And he was providing classes and stuff like that. It was in its infancy because historically people have not been allowed to experience their personalities, or they haven't been able to just be who they are without being persecuted. So he took the opportunity, living in Weimar, Germany, to build people up and learn about who they are, work with people and stuff.
These same disgusting science fiction perversions that are being peddled to us today with the backing of the U.S. government and a bunch of perverted so-called doctors were being peddled to the Germans in the 1930s by their government and a bunch of perverted fake doctors like Magnus Hirschfeld.
Absolute nonsense. Hirschfeld was not part of the German government, first and foremost. And they weren't and are not today pushing anything on kids or whatever. People are gay. That's just what it is. That's really the root of Stu Peters' complaints, that people are gay. He doesn't like that.
And the others who hung around his facility. Now, I'm going to ask you to just imagine for a moment how sick one has to be to actually be the guy to come up with all of this and then to actually do it to people, to carry it out.
I got my finger on the space bar ready to pause at a moment's notice because I don't remember some of the warped, disturbing shit that this guy says in this. I just want to show you who he is and who Kash Patel works with regularly, gets along with, hangs out with, talks to, does shows with, and all of that other stuff. I want everybody to fully understand who Kash Patel is.
It's not a pleasant image to think about. But imagine this disgusting surgery. I mean, it's brutal today in 2024.
Yeah, I don't need to imagine because this is complete nonsense. I'm sure you've probably heard Marjorie Taylor Greene talk about abortions and what goes along with getting abortions incorrectly, talking about ripping the baby out and ripping the mother out, all that stupid shit. It's all made up. That is not what happens. She has no idea how any of this works and doesn't care. She just wants to make it up. In 1933, there's a guy named Julius Streicher. Julius Streicher was what was known as a Jew baiter, quote unquote. He owned a magazine called the Stormer. Der Stürmer is what it was called. In this magazine, he just make things up about people. He claimed that if a male mammal mates with a female mammal, the DNA from the male mammal will stay in the female mammal forever until it dies. And every child it sires from that moment on will have the DNA of the first male mammal that it was with. And that was the justification for classifying any woman that was married to a non-Aryan man, quote unquote, as non-Aryan herself. And he would say vile stuff, like exactly how Marjorie Taylor Greene talked about it. Stu Peters is the modern day Julius Streicher. Streicher used his magazine to get people whipped into a blood frenzy and willing to murder people for the things that he said, for the claims that he made. And he was one of, I think, 8 people who was executed in the Nuremberg trials. I forget how many. I mean, many others were tried, many others got sentences, but I believe only 8 were actually executed. It tried 24 of the most prominent Nazi leaders. 12 were sentenced to death. Hermann Göring checked out the night before he was scheduled to be executed. As I say in my book on the subject, Was Hitler an Atheist? Amazon and Audible. He hid a cyanide capsule in the only pocket nobody wanted to search. Julius Streicher was one of the people that was executed in the Nuremberg trials. Stu Peters is the new Julius Streicher. They're nearly identical in how they operate and how they think, in the lies that they spread, in the way that they frame their propaganda. They're nearly identical. Another thing that Stryker used to do to demonize Jews is he would describe the process of, he would describe kosher slaughter practices in gory detail. To be kosher, it has to be bled in a specific way. Like you have to, slaughtering an animal is messy either way. Have you ever been hunting before? I mean, it's ugly. You pull the trigger and you hit a deer. Sometimes you don't kill the deer. You have to go up and give it a coup de grace, put it out of its misery, and then you start cutting its skin. I mean, it's ugly. That's part of eating an animal. Human beings have done that forever. And it's kind of, it's a unique, specific process to make something kosher. You have to tie it up and cut its throat while its heart is beating so that the blood will drain, basically, to make sure that there is no blood in there, because they're not supposed to eat meat that has blood. That's the process. And Julius Stryker would go into gory, disturbing detail about the process. Why? For the exact same reason Marjorie Taylor Greene goes into detail about abortions, even though it's made up. It's made up detail from her. For the exact same reason Stu Peters makes things up in gory detail, as we were listening to, about the trans community and about how, Magnus Hirschfeld supposedly did these trans surgeries or whatever. Gory detail to get people emotionally invested in all of this. He's vile. These people are vile. There is no better word for it. Stryker also wrote children's books, interestingly enough. Julius Stryker did. You know who else wrote a children's book? Kash Patel. Hold on. It's, here it is. This one right here. The Plot Against the King. Julius Stryker also made the claim that Jews eat babies. That was a popular one. Again, this is all stuff that Stu Peters and or Kash Patel have repeated or claimed directly. They claimed that they take part in ritual murders of babies. I'm sorry, let me rephrase. Julius Stryker claimed they take part in ritual murders of babies that imitate the sacrifice of Jesus. It's obviously a complete lie. Why would anybody do that? That's just complete fictitious nonsense. But it gets Christians whipped into a blood frenzy over this whole thing, over Jews existing in society with them. He claimed that Julius Stryker claimed a Jewish guy brutally killed a cat and convinced everybody that the attacker deserved the same fate as the cat, and went into disgusting, gory detail about how this happened. And it was made up. The whole thing was made up. It was all fictitious. Dude stood there on stage and described this whole thing in vivid, disgusting, fake detail. Those are the exact types of people we're dealing with today. The types of people that do that just lie, that make things up to get people pissed off over nothing, specifically about gay people. Get people pissed off over gay people. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. We'll be right back. Don't forget to check out my Patreon. Also, take a look at my website, owenmorgan.com. I just finished writing a book titled Was Hitler an Atheist? It talks about religions during the Third Reich and how they work together. Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Protestants. And I even address the lies told by the evangelical world about Bonhoeffer. It's on Audible and Amazon. This is Stu Peters. If you don't know him, he is a full-blown Hitler-loving neo-Nazi, self-avowed, the whole 9 yards. Anyway, he's had Kash Patel on many times. And I talked about this in another video, but Stu Peters responded directly to what Kash Patel had to say. Patel is the FBI director appointed by Donald Trump, and he went through his appointment hearings and was asked about his affiliation with Stu Peters, because he's been on his show 8 times. And Patel denied knowing Stu Peters. I don't know, who is this? Never heard the name before. It's kind of funny. So Stu Peters, tore him down so hard, it was entertaining. Listen to, this is from Stu Peters' show. He played this clip. This is January 30th, 2025.
Mr. Patel, you frequently associated with and sometimes praised extremist figures with well-documented histories of racism, anti-Semitism, conspiracies, and the like.
Confirmation hearing of Kash Patel.
You familiar with the Stu Peters? Does that name ring a bell?
Like a deer in the headlights.
I'm sorry, what
are you?
That's what they do that every single time when they're in a confirmation hearing. They don't want to answer the question or they don't know what to say. I'm sorry, what was that? Can you repeat yourself? Count up how many times in the confirmation hearings on either side people say, I'm sorry, what was that? Couldn't hear you. One more time, please.
Familiar with Mr. Stu Peters?
Not off the top of my head.
He made 8 separate appearances on his podcast. He promoted outrageous conspiracy theories and worked with a prominent neo-Nazi.
Dude, he is a neo-Nazi.
They're more Ted Nugent. It goes on, list goes on. I'm just asking, when it comes to your association with individuals, why are so many of them in this category?
I.e., why are so many of your associates Nazis? Okay.
My association, as you loosely define it, is by appearing in media over 1,000 times to take on people who are putting on conspiratorial theories and to devour them of their false impressions and to talk to them about the truth.
Oh, so you completely disagree with Stu Peters, is what you're telling me, and you have only ever gone on his show to debate him on conspiracy theories. Is that what you're saying?
That is something that I will always continue to fight for, Senator. And I certainly don't believe that an individual who was the first minority to serve as the Deputy Director of National Intelligence for this country is a racist.
Pulling out the race card. Kash Patel, of all people. Again, neo-Nazi. Hangs around with neo-Nazis. Is himself a neo-Nazi, in my personal opinion. So now this is Stu Peters' reaction to it.
All right. So clearly Kash Patel is lying.
God, I love this.
Yeah, he absolutely does know who I am, and he's very familiar on a lot of different levels, and I'm not going to get into that right now because...
Bro, look at the hat. Look at the hat he's got here. Bad Goys, Goys. Tell me the dude is not a Nazi. Nobody uses that term. Nobody. Unless they are either Jewish, which even then, I don't know of anybody. I don't think I've ever heard a Jewish person ever use that term. Either that or neo-Nazis is the only two types of people that use the word. A goy, I believe, is a Yiddish word for non-Jewish person, if I'm correct. We have a Jewish person in the chat. Maybe he can tell us. A term used by Jewish people for non-Jewish person. Yep, there you go. That's what it is. So he kind of refers to himself as a bad goy. That's crazy.
And I'm not going to get into that right now because this guy is going through a Senate confirmation hearing. So,
did you know Jesus was a Jew? I mean, I say that as a joke, but you know, in World War II, Hitler's denomination of Christianity, positive Christianity was what he called it. They actually tried to spread the belief that Jesus was not Jewish, for real. I'm not even joking. So there are a lot of people around today that don't even realize that Jesus was Jewish. Anyway, sorry, a little aside there.
A Senate confirmation hearing. So I'm not going to get into too many personal specifics at this point, but that's flagrantly false, what he said there. And I don't want to hear this 6 million D chess stuff about how Kash Patel just has to get through this part of it, and then he just has to get in there and infiltrate so that he can root out all of the rats and the Jews. And
what did I tell you? This is what I'm talking about. The dude's a full-blown Nazi. All the rats and the Jews. Oh my God, bro. Get help.
You know, the globalists. No, that's not what's happening.
This Alex Jones impression. Love it. Globalist, Trotskyite.
Happening here. Okay. He's doing what his people do.
His people. Being Indians.
It's just inherently in them to lie and be deceitful.
That is a Nazi belief. Inherently in them. Look, there is a disparity between the white community and the black community. Between the white murder rate, the black murder rate. There is a disparity there. There's a difference. Now, why is there a difference between like crime rates between the two communities? It can be one of two things. Either it's the result of, it's like a cultural thing or like a societal thing or whatever that can be fixed. If it's a societal problem, we can do things to improve the communities. We can build colleges that give the black communities an opportunity to get education, try to rise them up out of poverty or whatever else. There's a way to fix it if it's a societal issue. The other option is that it's a genetic issue, that they're just genetically different. And that means you're a Nazi if you believe that. That is a Nazi argument. Straight up Nazi beliefs. So when Stu Peters says this,
here, okay, he's doing what his people do.
When he says that, it's him basically saying that they're genetically inferior. He's giving the same reasons to dislike a minority group that Hitler gave for disliking minority groups. He's a neo-Nazi. Now, why did Kash Patel go on his show and have friendly little chats with him 8 different times over the years? Why did Kash Patel help Stu Peters sue people and stuff? Why did they work together? Why do they have each other's phone numbers? It is, of course, because Kash Patel and Stu Peters work together, know each other, hang out.
It's just inherently in them to lie and be deceitful.
Literally words off of Hitler's lips.
And he's lying. He didn't say, yeah, I know Stu Peters. As a matter of fact, I know Stu Peters well enough that my organization that I founded called Fight with Cash, which was designed to protect people against defamation by the media, real defamation, not the ones that Greenblatt is into.
I don't know who that is, but I get the feeling that it was more Nazi.
Real defamation, like at the hands of the Rolling Stone, who made up a story out of whole cloth and then attributed a quote, just blindly wrote this quote out of midair, something that I never ever said before.
Okay, great. Let's talk about it then, Stu. You say the Rolling Stone. All right, let me just wrap up that part real fast, though. The point is that Kash Patel created an organization to help Stu Peters sue people for defamation, for libel, or whatever. They know each other really well, obviously. We have a neo-Nazi in the Department of Justice, or in the FBI. There's a neo-Nazi in the FBI now, leading it. Anyway, about what he said here. The Rolling Stone made up a quote about him.
Cloth, and then attributed a quote, just blindly wrote this quote out of midair, something that I never ever said before, and then published it with quotation marks around it, and then said, Stu Peters said.
Okay, let me show you the evidence that he absolutely did. This is the video that Rolling Stone was referencing when they said, quote, Hitler was a hero. This is what they were talking about. And I don't even know if it was in quotes exactly, but okay, listen to this.
It was war. Horrific things happened. Lots of people died. It was World War II. I don't believe that World War II happened as a result of the Holocaust. I don't believe that that was the reason for the war.
Okay, then you live in a delusion. Well, I guess you could say that the war started so that Hitler could take over Europe, and taking out the Jews was just like the driving motivation behind all of it, I guess. And the only reason the other countries fought against Hitler was because he stepped outside of his country and tried to take other areas. If he had just continued doing that in Germany, nobody would have given a probably. But all right, anyway.
I'm asking a lot of questions about that. People don't like when I ask a lot of questions about.
No, I had questions, and I asked them, and they were answered. I don't like it that you are rejecting answers that have been proven over and over again. You refuse to accept the answers, and you frame your questions as statements.
That Hitler may have been an evil dictator, a ruthless person that murdered millions of people. I don't know, because of the propaganda that surrounds every war.
It's not about propaganda, brother. You can pick up a book and read it and get the answers you're looking for. You know what? If you want, you can go to the archives, the National Archives in Germany or in the United States, and look at the original documents. Look at the requisition orders for the ovens and stuff. You can find this stuff. It's around, and it's been around for 100 years, or a little bit less, obviously. You're not finding the answers because you don't want to find the answers. You have an idea in mind, and you're doing everything you can to come up with the answer that you want. Now, this part is the one that the Rolling Stone quoted.
Propaganda that surrounds every war. But for this, wasn't he a hero? Wasn't Hitler doing the right thing when he ordered these books to be burned and these places to be stormed by force?
That's pretty, I don't know how he gets around that. You said Hitler was a hero. right? Didn't he say Hitler was a hero just now? How else am I supposed to interpret this? And Kash Patel apparently set up an organization to help him sue the Rolling Stone for quoting him as saying Hitler was a hero. This is like the most dead to rights case of free speech that I've ever seen. I don't know what factors would have to exist for him to win this libel suit. There's no way, right? I don't even know where it is. I don't know where the libel suit is, and it's like in the process, whatever. But and then he comes out here and he says things like this.
Yesterday, Newsweek called me a pro-Hitler Nazi. Raw Story called me a pro-Hitler Nazi. I don't know how these people get away. I mean, they said that I was a Holocaust denier, which is completely false.
Yep. Okay. Right. Completely false. Totally.
Emphatically false. As a matter of fact, they made up a quote out of whole cloth and said, Stu Peters said, quote, Hitler is a hero. I have never said any such thing.
I don't know how it gets any clearer. That's what he said, right? Am I the idiot here? Anyway, that's Kash Patel's association with Stu Peters. Let's continue listening to him just tear down Kash Patel over denying knowing him. God, he's so petty. I love this to death. I love watching him try to scratch his eyes out like a cat.
I never said it. And we proved that I never said it. And so Fight with Kash came to the aid of Stu Peters and the Stu Peters show because of Kash Patel personally, who personally knew me because of multiple appearances on this program.
Says he proved that he never said it. Okay.
And then we exchanged contact information.
Like, that's not even how it works. I'm sorry. I gotta, just 1 second. You're bringing a lawsuit against these people. They would have to produce evidence to my knowledge, to protect themselves in this case. A defense against defamation is the truth. If you told the truth, then you're safe. They told the truth. They would have to provide the evidence. He doesn't provide evidence that he never said it. That is proving a negative. That's not how it works. Anyway, whatever.
In the Stu Peters show because of Kash Patel personally, who personally knew me because of multiple appearances on this program. And then we exchanged contact information and we directly text via personal cell phones constantly. And we're on the phone with each other as Fight with Kash was hiring a team of
Yes, you're very cool. You both know each other. Wow. You're a big shot for knowing Kash Patel. Super impressive, Stu.
Attorneys to represent Stu Peters and the Stu Peters Network against the Rolling Stone. So he absolutely knows who I am. If I go on a show 8 times, I don't care if I've had 10,000 appearances. If I go on a show 8 times, I'm not going to deny knowing the person.
Fair enough.
And like, what could he have said here? Do you have any evidence to suggest that Stu Peters is this neo-Nazi that you're claiming that he is? I mean, what is that even? Can you define neo-Nazi?
Are you really? This is the route he's going. Define neo-Nazi. All right. Somebody that stands for the values that Hitler famously stood for, that the Nazi platform was all about. That's a neo-Nazi. Or somebody that stands for white nationalism. That would be a neo-Nazi. I think it's pretty clear that Stu Peters is a neo-Nazi. If that's not clear enough, give it a second. In another part of this video that he did, he clarifies it for us.
Is that like anti-Semitism or safe and effective or vaccine? Are we just changing the definitions to meet our grandstanding talking points while you're up here doing absolutely nothing because you know that I'm going to get confirmed anyways because Miriam Adelson wants me confirmed?
Okay, yeah, that's a whole different thing. So he thinks that we don't have a definition for the word Nazi then, is what he's saying. Apparently, it's so ambiguous and amorphous and confusing that a definition for neo-Nazi doesn't even exist. There is no such thing, apparently. How about this, Stu? Here's my definition of neo-Nazi. You and your beliefs. In reality, if they fit the beliefs that Hitler had, then it's neo-Nazi ideology. Racism, the belief that people are superior based solely on their skin color or whatever. Listen to this next part where he's talking about it. Same video.
So Kash Patel is continuing to fight for that. That's why he came on my program 8 times. We're going to do a montage. That's what we need to do. Alex, get a montage together. I know that you can hear me. get a montage together for the 8 times that Kash Patel was on the Stu Peters show, and so that we can show the public and show all of our viewers exactly how Kash Patel came on to disavow and devalue, my conspiracy theories and all my lies.
And I certainly don't believe that an individual who was the first minority to serve as the deputy director of national intelligence for this country is a racist.
That's so low and disgusting of him to do, but okay.
Yeah, I'm an Indian, so I can't be racist. So
yeah, he has to pull out the diversity card.
Let's check out.
That's hilarious.
Hold on a second.
He does that because he thinks that it's going to earn him brownie points with the right for showing that he put the left into like an unwinnable situation. Oh no, we can't condemn him as racist because he's the first minority. Blah, 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 blah. No, you're racist. You're a neo-Nazi. Everybody can see that clear as day, and I don't feel backed into a corner at all. The only people that you are making feel anything at all is the far right. People who think you just owned the libs. And it's honestly, truly, deeply disgusting. Anyway, keep listening to Stu here. He lays it out pretty clearly.
A very well-studied young man. How's the relationship between the Indians and the Pakistanis?
So he's drawing out the point that there is racism among Indians. Totally agreed. Yes, absolutely. Because the two countries don't like each other very much.
Yeah, they're so at each other's throats that it's the entire world's been terrified.
But I thought that if you were an Indian, you can't be a racist. You can't have racial prejudice. I mean, and
why did you even ask the guy? It's like he didn't want his opinion on it.
You get it wrong all the time too. Yeah, I'm a white exceptionalist.
You catch that? One more time?
Yeah, I'm a white exceptionalist. I am white, and I think that's exceptional, and I recognize that we are an exceptional race, a superior race of people who has...
Yeah, but you're a ginger, and that knocks you down about 15 points. Sorry, those are the rules. I'm just kidding.
A race of people who has built everything successful that has ever been known to man.
This is Nazi ideology right here. This is Nazi ideology. The belief that white people are superior genetically. They're smarter, they're faster, they're stronger. Just calling out to the Aryan ideology. The Nazis, or like Nazi ideology, is built on the belief that Aryans were a super race of what they called Übermensch, supermen. They were people that were smarter, they had higher IQs, they were stronger, they were faster, they were better at everything, taller and everything. And the only reason that they lost those qualities and looked like everybody else is because Jews intentionally came in and tainted their bloodline by marrying into the bloodline or whatever. That's the Aryan belief. Stu Peters is laying it out here. I don't know how it gets clear. He's espousing a belief in Aryan ideology
that has ever been known to man. It wasn't built by Indians. Nobody goes, wow, this is such an amazing and quality innovation. Oh, who did that? Oh, it was the Indians.
They don't? I mean, Indians have done plenty of innovating.
Wow, this is such a great culture, and I really love its history. I really, really love the nostalgia of this place. Well, where is that? Nobody ever says India.
They don't? You know what's particularly funny about this? The word Aryan originated in the Proto-Indo-European region. It was from epic stories written in Sanskrit. It was about Aryan people, which at the time it kind of meant noble. It's so funny to me that he is trashing Indians right now and endorsing Aryan ideology. The irony is so thick. Aside from that, Indians do plenty. Indians contribute to culture. They have a beautiful society. They have innovations and things like that. Didn't they just land something on the moon recently? There are a lot of inventions that come out of the United States. And I would venture to say fewer major inventions have come out of India in the past 100 years. There's a reason for that. It's either a societal thing where they just haven't encouraged innovation in the same ways or to the same degree that the United States has, or it's genetic. They're either genetically inferior or there's just a societal thing that can be changed. Stu believes they're genetically inferior. That's the hang up here.
Nobody's going, oh, wow, you know, the Indians have done such great things that we need all of them.
What are you even talking about? You think nobody praises Indians for doing good things?
Now we need them to run our federal law enforcement apparatus. We need them to program everything so that they can devalue everything. I mean, all of this just sounds so effing ridiculous. But I digress. There he was.
Jesus Christ, dude. What is wrong with you? Honestly. He's just a straight up disgusting human being, truthfully.
On Capitol Hill, lying and talking about how he doesn't know me.
Boy, that really got to him, didn't it? Now we know how to now we know how to get to Stu Peters. Tell him he's irrelevant. Nobody knows him.
I think that's the play here. I think we need to put the montage together. And, you know, it's probably just wasting our time because at this point, everybody who has an IQ over a ham sandwich understands what's happening with the Trump appointments, that they're not Trump appointments. They're Miriam Adelson appointments.
Yeah, a whole big complicated thing. He seems to be opposed to money in politics to some degree, depending on certain things. And Miriam Adelson definitely donated like a ton of money to Donald Trump, like $100 million or something, right? Sheldon Adelson's wife. Did Sheldon Adelson die? I think he did, and she's got all the money now. Anyway, yeah, I don't like that either. But you know, that doesn't mean by any stretch of the imagination that Stu is right about literally anything else.
They're Benjamin Netanyahu appointments. They are
oh boy, here we go.
They are appointments that will serve the foreign secular homosexual nation state of Israel, the
oh boy,
illegitimate pedophilic nation state of Israel that was arbitrarily drawn on a map on May 14th, 1948, so that we could get these people their own place, so they could get the out of our business and everything that we're doing. Thousands of times they've been expelled from 109 countries, and we have citations for every single one of them.
Oh my God, dude. Get help, seriously. I have lots of criticism for Israel. Lots. But I do it because of how they're treating Palestinians. Stu Peters is criticizing Israel because he f***ing hates Jews. Get help, bro. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. We'll be right back. Don't forget to check out my Patreon. Also, take a look at my website, owenmorgan.com. I just finished writing a book titled Was Hitler an Atheist? It talks about religions during the Third Reich and how they work together. Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Protestants. And I even address the lies told by the evangelical world about Bonhoeffer. It's on Audible and Amazon. This dude is a priest in the Anglican Church, or he was before he did a full-blown Hitler salute on stage after one of his events. Listen to this.
This I see as the last stand for the West. This is the last stand for Christendom.
I believe this is like a pro-life event that he was speaking at.
It's make or break time. The whole of the old world is crumbling. Every country in Europe is embracing death. America, as far as I could see, is the only country fighting for life.
What a delusional mindset to be in, right? I mean, it was a pro-life event, so I'm assuming he's talking about abortion specifically, but seriously, the delusion here.
That's down to you guys. So God bless all of you for what you're doing. Please keep doing it. I hope that I can encourage you, and my heart goes out to you. God.
There you go. Full-blown Nazi salute.
And my heart goes out to you. God bless.
People laughing in the crowd. Like they think it's funny.
Amazing, amazing.
No, not amazing. Anyway, this dude was defrocked as a priest, nearly immediately. By the way, I pulled this from his Twitter account. He posted it. He's proud of it. He thinks it's awesome. He tweeted this. I got it from his Twitter account. I'm having so much trouble finding him all of a sudden. That's weird. Well, anyway, he basically said that he was worried for his flock because now he can't give them communion and he didn't know what he was going to do and all this other stupid stuff. You didn't think about your flock, quote unquote, before Sieg Heiling, that didn't like cross your mind? Oh, maybe I shouldn't do that. The dude actually, he had a conversation with Joel Webbin also. If you don't know Joel Webbin, buckle up for that one. We're going to listen to that in a second, but just read what the Anglican Catholic Church wrote about when they defrocked him here. At approximately 3:00 p.m. today, January 29th, members of the College of Bishops of the ACC, the Anglican Catholic Church, I assume, were made aware of a post made on X showing the end of a speech made by Calvin Robinson at the National Pro-Life Summit in Washington, D.C. In it, he closed his comments with a gesture that many have interpreted as a pro-Nazi salute. Cut the "many have interpreted" part out. It was a Nazi salute. Don't give these people any ground. It's not something that you interpret as something. It is a Nazi salute. That's what it is. While we cannot say what was in Mr. Robinson's heart when he did this, his action appears to have been an attempt to curry favor with certain elements of the American political right by provoking its opposition. Mr. Robinson had been warned that online trolling and other such actions, whether in service of the left or the right, are incompatible with a priestly vocation and was told to desist. Clearly, he has not, and as such, his license in this church has been revoked. He is no longer serving as a priest of the Anglican Catholic Church. Notice the word there that they use, trolling. They said trolling. The Anglican Church is an offshoot of the Catholic Church, I believe. There's like this graph that we can look at. Let me pull it up. This is a real basic graph. It started out really early, shortly after Jesus died or whatever. Then there was something called the Catholicos. Orthodox used to kind of control Christianity generally, and then Catholicism took over everything. I believe Catholicism means universal, and Orthodox means correct, basically. So anyway, Catholicism took everything over and became rigid and picked up the belief that the Bible isn't the only source of God's truth. It's also the culture of the religion that needs to be passed on from the priestly class. So, 1,500 years ago or whatever, Catholics are like giving communion and they're saying Hail Marys, they're doing confessions and everything, all the things that Catholics do. That stuff isn't in the Bible, a lot of it, but it's part of Catholic culture, and they believe that they're like the big important whatever. So that's an order from God. The Anglican Church didn't really like that. So they split off from the Roman Catholic Church. Protestants also split off from the Roman Catholic Church. The Anglican Church was a little bit later. I think it was around 1530. 1517 is when Protestantism split off with Lutherans. And then Calvinists split off also alongside the Lutherans around the same time, about 1540, give or take. Henry VIII of England severs ties with Rome. That's when the Anglican Church was created. I'm not sure what the Anglican Catholic Church is, or if it's like different from the Anglican Church. I assume they're the same, but that kind of gives you an idea of the system and how it kind of split apart. From what I'm reading here, it looks like the Anglican Catholic Church is a little bit different from the Anglican Church, in that the ACC, Anglican Catholic Church, was founded in 1977 and only has like a few hundred congregations, as far as I can tell. In January 1978, 4 bishops were consecrated. The new church continued to appeal to disaffected Episcopalians to join. The Anglican Catholic Church created the missionary diocese of the Caribbean and New Granada in 1982 and consecrated Justo Pastor Ruiz, a former Episcopal priest, its first bishop. So it looks like the Anglican Catholic Church is a lot newer than the Anglican Church. But anyway, they defrocked him is the bottom line. So they said, "We understand that this is not just an administrative matter. The Holocaust was an episode of unspeakable horror enacted by a regime of evil men. We condemn Nazi ideology and anti-Semitism in all its forms, and we believe that those who mimic the Nazi salute, even as a joke or an attempt to troll their opponents, trivialize the horror of the Holocaust and diminish the sacrifice of those who fought against its perpetrators." Such actions are harmful, divisive, and contrary to the tenets of Christian charity. I couldn't have said that better myself, honestly. That was really well said. Those who mimic it, even as a joke, trivialize it. That's really well said. I appreciate that. Finally, we pray that God will give us grace to lay aside our unhappy divisions, and we commend our nation and ourselves to his almighty protection. You know, in my opinion, politics should not divide a church. Churches should be zeroed in on community and loving Jesus, just religion. Some people disagree on some things. You know, some people believe that a woman should be able to make a choice as to whether she gets an abortion, but wouldn't personally get an abortion. Some people believe that, you know, you shouldn't have that choice at all. But those two positions shouldn't divide your church in half, in my opinion. You should be able to function and work together no matter what. And the fact that this dude did this is just evidence that he's a child, he's petty, and he doesn't know how to unify people. He doesn't know how to bring people together. All he knows how to do is divide. And he has no place as a pastor for that reason, if no other. Let's just take a quick glance through this article. This is the Rolling Stone. Priest defrocked after copying Elon Musk's salute at pro-life summit. The Anglican Catholic Church has defrocked Father Calvin Robinson after the priest went viral for mimicking a recent gesture by Elon Musk that really, really looked like a Nazi salute. I wish people would stop saying that. It was a Nazi salute, period. I get why they're saying that, but that's what it was. In a statement released Wednesday, leadership of the ACC wrote that we are made aware of post on X showing the end of a speech made by Calvin Robinson at the National Pro-Life Summit in Washington, D.C. Let me blow this up so I can read it better. In it, he closed his comments with a gesture that may have been interpreted as a pro-Nazi salute. In his closing remarks at the summit, this is the Rolling Stone speaking again. In his closing remarks at the summit, Robinson quoted Musk, telling the crowd, "My heart goes out to you," before tapping his right hand to his chest and extending his arm, palm down, in a salute to the crowd. Actually, that's not exactly correct. Calvin Robinson said it as he did it. "My heart goes out to you." Elon Musk did it. Hand to chest and then outstretched arm. And a second later, "My heart goes out to you." Unconnected things. We all saw what happened. I just don't want us to forget. Musk was embraced and celebrated by extremists and neo-Nazis when he performed the gesture twice while speaking to Trump supporters following the inauguration last week. Musk's intention was unclear, but the gesture has been widely likened to a Nazi salute. No, Musk's intention was completely clear. Everybody knew what happened. Everybody. And you don't need to take my word for it. You can take neo-Nazi Nick Fuentes' word for it. Full-blown, self-avowed, Hitler-loving Nazi Nick Fuentes, basically the leader of the Nazi movement in America today.
And then the straight up, that was a serious Roman. It wasn't even
the Roman salute, by the way. It's just some name that was created for theater 150 years ago. It was not done by the Romans. I don't even know why they call it the Roman salute. It's the Hitler salute. It's the Sieg Heil. If you prefer, it's the Bellamy salute.
A subtle, a wave, one of these, a Laura Ingraham. Remember when Laura Ingraham did that?
Yeah, I talked about that on my channel recently.
That was a straight up, Sieg Heil, loving Hitler energy. that was a straight up with intensity Roman salute.
So that's what Nazis are saying about it. If Nazis are recognizing it as the salute, I'm comfortable recognizing it as such also. Anyway, the Rolling Stone continues. The crowd at the National Pro-Life Summit applauded raucously after Robinson delivered the same salute in what was a clear homage to Musk. Oh yeah, this is from their message. The church, which Robinson had only been a member of since 2024, oh wow, added, "This is not just an administrative matter. We believe that those who mimic the Nazi salute, even as a joke, trivialize the horror of the Holocaust." Yeah. In 2022, Robinson left the Church of England, into which he hoped to be ordained after completing his theological studies. Robinson was not offered a deaconship and accused the church of rejecting him due to his politics. Yeah, so the Church of England, that's the Anglican Church, I believe, right? Let me just verify that. Yes, it is the Anglican Church. So he left the Anglican Church for the Anglican Catholic Church. And I have the article about that here on Church Times about he was rejected a deaconship. And they basically said, we're not doing it because of your skin color or your beliefs or whatever. We just don't have a place for you right now. And you have to have a place to be a priest before you can receive this role or whatever. The London Diocese, or a spokesperson for the London Diocese said, we have a limited number of curacies available, which were considered on a case-by-case basis. In this instance, it's felt that there's no suitable option available that London can currently offer. He briefly served as a deacon in the Free Church of England before seeking a position with the Nordic Catholic Church, a traditionalist Catholic Norwegian church. He ministered at the church for less than a year before jumping to the ACC. That's really interesting. I wonder why he church hops so much. The church did not immediately respond to a request for comment from the Rolling Stone. Among his recent Twitter posts, Mr. Robinson describes quote-unquote wokeness as a spiritual virus. Another from October 10th last year gives details of a webinar on climate justice aimed at ordinance, including a session on, quote, what are the theological implications of climate change? He writes, the Church of Woke. This is piffle is being directed at the next generation of vicars? I don't know what that means. I hope I didn't say a slur just now. In another email obtained by Mr. Robinson, Bishop Wickham writes, Calvin's comments concern me about denying institutional racism in this country. In February 2020, the Archbishop of Canterbury told the General Synod that the church was still deeply institutionally racist. Last April, the Archbishops of Canterbury and York welcomed the report of the Anti-Racism Task Force and pledged immediate action on 5 of its recommendations. Mr. Robinson, who is black, wrote on Sunday that he fundamentally disagreed with this approach and described it as divisive and offensive. He says, I do not think the claim that either the church or wider society is institutionally racist has ever been supported by robust evidence, he wrote. Well, you're just wrong. It has. I don't know what to tell you. You know, you want evidence of it? I'll give you evidence. What percentage of black people in a community are leaders of churches versus how many are white in that same church community and hold leadership roles? It doesn't mean that anybody anywhere along the system is racist. Nobody has to be racist. That's what systemic means. That it's just like a system thing. That it just so happens that this emergent property exists. It doesn't have to be a specific person like intentionally doing anything racist. That's just how it works. Even if there are totally innocent reasons for all of this, like, I don't know, the black community just chooses not to go into pastoring for one reason or another, not as much as the white community. It's a systemically racist system which is perpetuated by itself. When a black person, for example, does try to become a pastor of a church, it's more of an uphill battle because it's unusual. It's less common. Again, I don't even know if any of that data is accurate. I'm just providing an example. And that's how it works in government too. Like, people with the name Tyrone or Mercedes are less likely to get jobs. They're less likely that their resumes will be like approved because they're black sounding names. Doesn't have to be a racist actor anywhere in the system. It's just like it's systemic subconscious bias that exists. We should try to correct for that so that that bias doesn't exist. Anyway, says, Mr. Robinson says that in a meeting with Bishop Mullally, she said to him, Calvin, as a white woman, I can tell you that the church is institutionally racist. Okay, hard doubt. I don't believe a word out of this guy's mouth, but whatever. On Tuesday, Bishop Mullally said, much has been written about my private conversations with Calvin during the discernment process, some of which I do not recognize. Quote, while I believe it right to maintain the personal and confidential nature of the process, I can be clear that, as with all applications for ministry in the diocese, Calvin's was considered irrespective of church tradition or views on politics or race, as is the case for every candidate. So he's playing the persecution card right now. and simultaneously complaining that other people are like paying attention to potential sources of persecution. This is just wild. This guy is a complete piece of trash. I'm sorry, man. I don't know how else to say it. Anyway, let's talk about Joel Webbin. Dude went on Joel Webbin. Why does he have a Lincoln beard, an Abraham Lincoln beard? This is just odd to see. He has it here too. I didn't even notice. That is a weird looking like style. Okay. Anyway, Joel Webbin is a right-wing extremist, Christian nationalist, Nazi pastor whose primary ideology is Christianity and secondary is Nazism, which I will prove in a minute. But listen to what they said to each other. This came out December 2024, so a month before he did the Nazi salute.
Israel, politically, I think is problematic with these United States of America. I do not think that this is a healthy political relationship. Religiously, spiritually, Judaism, I believe, is a pernicious evil. I really do. I don't think that all false religions are equal. And I think we should be aware of that and talk about that at a temporal level and then also an eternal level.
That is really interesting to hear a Christian nationalist kind of demonizing Christianity, or I'm sorry, demonizing Judaism that way. Let me explain. Pretty much everybody on the right has a weird hang up with Israel and with Jews. Everybody. Everybody on the Christian far right. Some of them believe that like Jews killed Jesus and that they're inherently in their souls just bad and untrustworthy. Like it's not like a cultural thing or whatever. It's like a gene thing. And if that's the case, you're a Nazi. That's what the Nazis believed. And these two fit the bill pretty closely. The other set of far-right Christian nationalists are obsessed with Israel, like to a weird degree. They call themselves Zionists because as an ideology, Zionism is a belief that Jews should control that region of the Middle East in its entirety. And it's an inherently far-right, nationalistic, extremist ideology. I talked about this recently, but if this is like the first video you've seen of mine, which is statistically likely, I'll mention it one more time. Zionism is a far-right nationalistic ideology, and as such, got along with the Nazi ideology really, really well. In fact, they even made deals with each other, Zionists and Nazis. At the time when the agreement was signed, August, I believe, 1933, Hitler was trying to push Jews out of Germany. He didn't have broader ambitions yet, or he didn't tip his hand to show us that he did, at the very least. He was just trying to get them out of Germany at the very least. And Zionists signed a pact with Hitler. I believe the Havara Pact is what it was called, something to that effect, to allow Jews to escape Germany with most of their assets if they were going to Palestine. Modern day Zionists are obsessed with Israel because they believe that Jesus will, when he returns, he will return in Israel at the temple in Jerusalem. And then, the Jews will be judged and they'll all die a horrible death. The whole bit. So they need Israel to exist so that it can be destroyed, according to their eschatology, their apocalyptic beliefs. Like Mike Huckabee, for example, he doesn't give a shit about Jews or Israel. He wants Jesus to return, and them being there is a fundamental piece of that. So that's why I say right-wing Christian nationalists all have a specific view of Israel. It's just that some of those right-wing nationalists want Israel to exist. And it seems to me that we've found a couple of people that don't want Israel to exist and don't want Jews to exist. That's clear as day. If not from the Hitler salute that Calvin Robinson gave, then the vile, psychotic things that Joel Webbin has to say. Joel Webbin went on Stu Peters' TV show. I have a bunch of stuff about Stu Peters if you want to learn more about him. He is a full-blown, self-avowed, Hitler-loving Nazi. Says that he believes white people are superior and the whole 9 yards. So anyway, like the fact that he went on Stu Peters' program at all, the fact that he knows who Stu Peters even is, tells me that he is a Nazi. But when he went on there, he said things like this.
And we should think about Israel. That doesn't mean we have to have a malice, but we should think about the modern state of Israel. Number one, that this is not the same as Old Covenant Israel in our Old Testament. It's not. Number two, it is a legitimate nation state. I'm not saying the way that it was started was legitimate, but all things, whether right or wrong. So Joe Biden, I think he stole the election, but there is a certain point where even if
they're never going to give up on that, are they?
King comes in wrongfully, there is a certain point where he's been there long enough. He is king. It is a legitimate kingdom, or it's a legitimate nation. So my point is saying in saying that is Israel. I think that the founding was one of the biggest mistakes in history that just gave birth to unceasing wars.
Again, I actually agree that it was absolutely terrible and has wreaked havoc on society, on human civilization, that Israel is there and is an apartheid state, has been an apartheid state since day one, basically, refused to work with Palestinians to have a one-state solution. That is wreaking absolute havoc on society. But anyway, I'm different from these guys in that I don't want anybody hurt. I don't want anybody dead. I don't have like ill will toward anybody. I just want fighting to stop. And if Israel could figure out how to coexist in that region, I would be okay with the country being named Israel. I don't care. But they shouldn't lock people out of their political system or lock them out of immigration or anything. It's an apartheid state when you do that.
Wars, and it's never going to stop. But that said, it is a legitimate nation state. And so I think that Christians should view it not as this special carved out people, but the same way we view any other nation, China or Brazil. We should view it as these are people made in the image of God. They need to get saved. There's not any special divine land right for them. Mm-hmm. There's not a special promise of revival for them. We send missionaries just like we would anywhere else, with only one exception. Not that they're special, but there is one exception. There are certain cults and groups that are incredibly hostile towards Christ. But in terms of major world religions, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, there is no major world religion with a more hostile view towards the person and work of Jesus Christ, our Savior and Lord, than Talmudic Judaism.
Wow, dude.
Heartbreak. I have to stop down. Heartbreak. Yeah. Fascinating conversation.
Anyway, yeah. The guy... I watched the whole thing on my Unfiltered channel if you want to find it. Owen Morgan Unfiltered. It was completely unhinged and it was anti-Semitic, but Stu Peters isn't anti-Semitic. He is full-blown Nazi. I'm just trying to draw like a network here to give you an idea of the types of people that Calvin Robinson hangs around, talks with, works with. I don't care if he was trolling. I don't care if he's joking. I don't care if it was insincere. I don't care. He did a Nazi salute, and he hangs around with Nazis. It's pretty clear what's happening here, right? To give you a little more context on Joel Webbin, you check this clip out, just so you have an idea of like some of the types of like moral beliefs that this little group of nutcases have.
The majority right now would say, well, the Dark Ages were terrible, you know, and they're burning witches, you know, and everybody is oppressed by Christianity.
Yep.
And by
that's pretty bad. I agree 100%. Go on.
By Christianity and by, you know, the clergy and it was just this horrible, horrible time. Whereas at that time, the majority would disagree. The majority during those centuries would say, no, Christendom is great. We love Christ. We love his church.
By the way, Christendom, I looked it up recently because Jehovah's Witnesses have a different interpretation. It's a kingdom set up in the name of God with a king that is a representative of God. Vatican would be Christendom, kind of, because the Pope is God's vicar on earth or whatever. Jehovah's Witnesses believe that Christendom, quote unquote, represents all of Christianity and is evil. But I guess he wants Christendom, apparently.
We're making incredible advancements. We've pushed back on the darkness and on driven literal demonic spirits out of northern European tribes and, you know, places and the Americas and, you know, all this kind of stuff, and making incredible progress, incredible discoveries and charting new maps and innovation and inventions.
innovation and inventions and mapping is a good thing in your mind, then trust me, you don't want more Dark Ages. Do you know why they're called the Dark Ages in the first place? He said there was witch burning and stuff at the time. But that's a good thing. That just led to more innovation. What is wrong with you? And let me just, give this a listen. The Dark Ages are called such because historians from the Renaissance period viewed the time following the fall of the Roman Empire as a period of intellectual decline, with little cultural advancement, widespread illiteracy, and a lack of significant artistic or scientific achievements, essentially seeing it as a dark time compared to the classical era of Greece and Rome. This perception is largely considered outdated by modern historians who recognize complexities within the period. That's why it was named that in the first place. Of course, there are complexities. Of course, there's nuance to everything. But the Dark Ages were a bad time overall in human history. It was not pleasant. There is an eternal struggle in society between progress and traditionalism. There has always been a struggle between the two. I want to move forward. I want America to move forward. Of course, taking some steps back at the moment, but set that aside. I want us to move forward. I want us to progress. I want us to have better literacy rates, happier people, more wealth for everybody instead of being concentrated at the very top. I want prosperity for everybody. But every time people try to make progress in history, there's the church standing in the way. There's the church fighting back with everything that it has, trying to force us back into a traditionalist mold every single time. Go back to every major political event in U.S. history at the very least, and you will find people on the wrong side using the Bible to justify their atrocities. And the right side, to be fair, using the Bible to condemn atrocities. But the point is that the church has always stood in the way of progress, always. And it blows me away that he kind of signals to these virtuous things like technological advancements and literacy rates and everything else, while not realizing that what he's trying to do would make that worse. Or maybe he does realize and he just doesn't care. I don't know. I can't tell.
Northern European tribes and, places and the Americas and, all this kind of stuff, and making incredible progress, incredible discoveries and charting new maps and innovation and inventions. And
this is just like straight delusion right here.
And charting new maps and innovation and inventions. And so I'm of the persuasion that I think the whole idea of the Dark Ages is a psyop. I think that the Dark Ages was actually a golden age, and that the Great Enlightenment is actually the dark spell that has come over the West, and that if anything, we're in the Dark Ages now.
Brother, get help. That is a psychotic thing to come out of your mouth. We're in the Dark Ages now. He mentioned the Enlightenment. Thomas Jefferson was one of the Enlightenment founders, if you will, along with other people from the era. And the idea behind the Enlightenment is that, let me just define this. The Enlightenment was a philosophical movement in Europe during the 17th and 18th centuries that emphasized the use of reason and logic to understand the world, promoting ideas like liberty, progress, tolerance, and individual rights, often challenging established religious and political authority in favor of a more rational society. It's also known as the Age of Reason. And the Enlightenment is responsible for all the good things that we have today. All of them. Like I said, there's the church standing in the way when we try to make progress. The Enlightenment movement moved us forward despite the fact that the church was fighting. Despite the fact that the church benefited from the Enlightenment principles, we had to drag it along, kicking and screaming the whole way. Would we have the internet if we entered a dark age rather than an age of enlightenment in America in the 1700s? Would we have cars? Would we have the literacy rate that we have today? I doubt it. Based on everything that Donald Trump is doing at this immediate moment in history, seems pretty clear to me that it's going to make things worse to have a kind of a Christian nationalist system. That is like blatantly obvious. I would just give you another idea of the types of people that Calvin Robinson hangs around. Listen to what Joel Webbin had to say in this conversation.
If Pete Hegseth...
by the way, if you're watching 10 years in the future, Pete Hegseth was just sent through his confirmation hearing not too long ago to become the Secretary of Defense, I believe.
Were to answer these women who are asking him about women in combat truthfully and say, Madam, Senator, I don't think women should be in the military, period. And in fact, I don't think you should be a senator either. This is a man's role. Go home. He would not get the confirmation. But what that would do is it would open the door to so many men, young men who are thinking and seeing the world that way and realizing this is all wrong. This is not a debate about whether women can be in this kind of combat or that kind of combat. This is a debate about men's place in the world versus a woman's place in the world.
This is what they do. They're chipping away at rights, fundamental rights that we believed were already established, and there's no question about them. Like birthright citizenship, that's established, period. And it is established. But Trump is trying to chip away at it. That's just one example. Women's suffrage, that's established. That's a 19th Amendment, I believe. That's not going away, but they're chipping away at it as much as they can. They're starting a movement. You know what happened when enough political figures, started getting loud about alcohol and how frustrating it was that people like drink and all that stuff? They passed a constitutional amendment to ban it. And you know what happened when senators said, wow, we were real idiots back then, let's correct that? They passed a constitutional amendment to repeal it. It doesn't matter what roadblocks are in the way. If there is a loud enough voice screaming that it wants this thing, like the church, for example, screaming about this as an institution, they will find a way to do it given enough time and without enough pushback. That's why this is so disturbing. And by the way, his mention of Pete Hegseth there, let me show you why he's talking about Hegseth in the first place, complaining about women in the military or whatever, because he said this.
I'm straight up just saying we should not have women in combat roles. It hasn't made us more effective, hasn't made us more lethal.
Like, that is absolutely not true. That's a complete lie.
Has made fighting more complicated.
No, it hasn't.
We've all served with women and they're great. Mm-hmm. It just, our institutions don't have to incentivize that in places where not traditionally, over human history, men in those positions are more capable.
Men are more capable? Where are you getting this? Men are not more capable than women in the military. Anyway, like I said, there is a kind of movement that's rumbling under the surface right now, trying to find a place to erupt, find cracks in the ground that it can hit with a sledgehammer so that it erupts and it's successful. That's what we're watching happen right now. And Joel Webbin, Pete Hegseth, Calvin Robinson, they're all symptoms of the same problem, right-wing extremism. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. That's all I've got for you. If you like what I do and you want to see me continue to do it, don't forget to check me out on Patreon. I just finished writing a book titled Was Hitler an Atheist? It talks about religions during the Third Reich and how they work together. Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Protestants. And I even address the lies told by the evangelical world about Bonhoeffer. It's on Audible and Amazon. Okay, thanks for watching, guys.